I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm here live from the NYSE. Jim Cramer's off this morning, so joining me is Jeff Marks, Senior Portfolio Analyst for Cramer's Action Alerts Plus Charitable Trust. Jeff, let's kick it off. Jim Cramer last night said that volatility is here to stay, like it or not. So what's your one tip for investors who are in this market and looking to protect themselves going into September?
Yeah, I would say whatever you do, don't panic. Don't panic if you see the market down a lot. Don't panic if you see the market up a lot. You just have to create a game plan that's best for, for your financial profile. Stick to it. Look to buy high-quality companies that are trading on discounts when the market goes down, and just don't panic. Just stick to the game plan.
All right, and that's what my tattoo says, guys. So I can verify that that's the way to go. All right, so Jeff, the Treasury yields, they're not doing so great. And one thing that investors might be worried about is you look at the 5-year, you look at the 2-year, you look at the 10-year, and you look at the 30-year. That's a lot to keep an eye on. Is there one specific one that you should keep an eye on?
I think you gotta look at all the dynamics, right? There may not be one specific one because they're all gonna have to trade in tandem. So for like the 2s and 10s, obviously the market's keying off that right now. What you're seeing is correlation, whether it's the right correlation or not, but when you're seeing yields fall, you're seeing equities fall. But I also think at the same time you need to pay attention to mortgage rates, and I'll tell you why. So with mortgage rates lower, a lot of homeowners are refinancing their mortgages right now, and that's freeing up capital for them to spend. I was just talking to a friend of mine this weekend, recent homeowner, millennials do buy homes. So he just recently refinanced his mortgage, and it's freeing up $400 for him per month. And he asked me, what should I do with $400? Should I continue to pay down the mortgage? Should I invest it in the market? Or should I just look to increase, my discretionary spending? But so, that's up to obviously his decision with, what's best for him financially. But I think the takeaway there is that there has been some type of stimulative effect of these lower interest rates. It's freeing up people for capital, and as much as for the consumer, you'll see businesses benefit from that too. And I know the mortgage rates applications number was a little weak, but that I think from a year-over-year perspective, there has been this type of stimulative effect. So the reason why I say this is because I know that there's the yield curve right now is obviously it's showing very ominous signal, very gloomy. But I think there are still some key stimulative effects that we need to focus on as well. We need to focus on some of the good things that can go right as well.
And like you said earlier, maybe it's a don't panic moment in the markets where you got to keep an eye on it.
Exactly. With a lot of what people are saying why yields are so low is just because you just can't get this type of sort of risk-free yield anywhere else right now, and so a lot of money is flowing into the U.S.
All right. So Okta, which is our real money stock of the day, reports earnings after the bell. They're up over 118% over the past year, which is incredible.
Been a great stock. Yeah, it's been a great stock. It's in that like Zscaler, Zendesk, kind of Okta, in that family of stocks.
So how should investors approach Okta?
So this one, I would look. There's obviously these types of high flyers. They've been growing into their valuations of late. People have been, sort of cooling off in the group, so to speak. I think what you'll want to see from the company if you are a shareholder, you're going to want to look for a really good sales beats, perhaps accelerating growth. That's really has been kind of the key that has helped these high flyers continue to go higher and higher and higher. So I would look for sales. Sales is the number.
And let's wrap it up with Peloton because, everyone needs a workout. Peloton is officially on the path to go public. They filed their S1, or the S1 went public. It was actually filed confidentially in June. So looking at Peloton, would you invest right now? And what would it take for you to invest?
So for me personally, I need stocks with some profits to them. This is kind of in that they're burning a lot of cash, they're not profitable. So for me, that kind of keeps me hesitant in the near term, but I mean, it's a great company. I actually firsthand saw a Peloton product last weekend. I was staying at my brother's apartment in Philadelphia, and he owns one, and he got the hardware, he got the bike on a 0-interest loan, long out. So it's that Peloton is going to be that razor blade model, right? So you buy the hardware of the bike, and then you subscribe also to the classes. It's a digital subscription, which you pay for. So it has that nice blend of hardware sales, subscription sales. I could see this one being like a cult stock, right? So this kind of health fitness trend has kind of like cult-like behavior, like SoulCycle, just all those types of the cycling, spinning, that type of trend. So I could see that kind of happening when it IPOs.
Would you buy the bike?
Would I buy the bike? So I'm not a big cycler, but it is interesting because I see the commercials for it. And it seems like it is like a fun class. You got the music going. I think right now probably not, but in the future, if I maybe if I get some more space.
I was gonna say New York City apartment.
Yeah, maybe if I move out of the city, then I would certainly look into. I mean, it's a zero interest loan. You can't kind of beat that. So yeah, it seems like a very cool product. It seems like the people who have it really enjoy it.
I would love to see Peloton come out with like a New York City model so that like you and I could afford to have it in our space without taking up the entire apartment.
Yeah, it would be more like a miniature bike that to fit that you'd have for like a teenager, something like that.
Yes, exactly. All right, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us and for all of your insight. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook or on TheStreet.com, we are now switching over to our Action Alerts Plus daily rundown video on ActionAlertsPlus.com. I'm Catherine Ross, and we'll see you tomorrow.